Gentlemen, boys and girls, species around the multiverse, welcome to Geek Syndicate episode 355, where we do what? I'll tell you what, we bring the sass back to geekdom. I am Monts, and with me as always is my boy...
The Nuge, back
Hey,
in the
Nuge.
house. Yeah, back in the house. It's been a little while.
It has. I've been doing a lot of plays. I've been busy.
You have, haven't you?
Yeah.
So apologies to long-term listeners. Hopefully you're still there. If you've gone, then stuff.
Yeah. Wow. It's like It's one of them shows.
This episode is dedicated to a 12-year-old single malt whiskey.
Yeah.
And my low tolerance for
Yeah, I'm drinking Tiger tea.
Nice. Ooh.
So it's a black tea that we got from Barcelona a while back.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all there is to it.
It's not actually made from tigers, though, is it?
No, I hope not.
Just checking.
Yeah.
You might want to check the label on that bad boy, though.
Yeah.
It's fermented like tiger ass or something. Do you know
tiger ass. Oh man, thanks for that. Jeez. What are you drinking?
Sweet taste
tiger
of
ass.
Tiger ass.
Tiger ass. Yeah, let's move on before I feel a bit nauseous.
Okay. Shall we move on to shout outs?
Yeah.
You got any?
No.
Me neither. Shall we move on? I mean, I probably have.
No, do you know what? So I was doing a play, and there was a girl who was in it called Olivia, and we were just chatting. She goes, "Yeah, I like Doctor Who and sci-fi." And we had this big chat about Doctor Who, and I went, "What other sci-fi are you into?" And she went, "Well, when I say sci-fi, I just mean Doctor Who, really." I was like, "Okay,
hey,
so
that's all right."
It's all good. It's all good. So shout out to Olivia.
I'll give a shout out. Well, this is more a name and shame. I'm going to give a shout out to H. She knows who she is. She listens to this. Right.
Okay.
So we'd gone away. Sue and I'd gone away, and we were staying with HMV. Not to be confused with HMV, the record store. Completely different.
Just keep going.
Anyway, yeah. So I came down one morning in my Captain America onesie.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And they were like, "Oh, it's really cool, whatever." And at one point, she said, "Oh, it's really cool that you've you're there in your Superman onesie."
No.
I just looked at her. I was like, "You what? You had Superman onesie?" You can see. I think she'd suddenly realised and was scrambling to try and figure out who it was. So yeah.
No, that's how you lose friends, man.
Yeah. And then I said, "Don't you listen to?" Because she listens to the podcast. I said, "Don't you listen to the podcast? Aren't you aware of the difference between DC and Marvel?" She's like, "I listen to the podcast for the banter."
So she's listening to this.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I got to say, H. Okay, so if we're cussing people, I want to give a shout out to my boy Trey. So I've just finished doing a show which was called Compositor E, which was set in a print shop that printed Shakespeare's first folio, and I'm playing the old grizzled printing veteran, and he's playing the apprentice that comes and wants to take the crown, kind of jobby.
Right.
And my boy was great. He was fantastic. He was brilliant. But what was great is we had many an impassioned chat about sci-fi and anime and stuff like that. So it was great. Until, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he never watched Lord of the Rings movies.
I was going to say what the new ones. I was going to say it's only been those films.
Yeah, the Peter Jackson movies.
Yeah,
never watched them.
Okay.
Decided to watch them. Didn't really like them. Because they were nothing like the Rings of Power. Hello?
Do you know what, right? You know what? Whatever. You know what? Right?
Oh man, pull yourself. Take a breath. Pull yourself together. Find your words.
It's because I'm trying to find like a a way to kind of be like magnanimous and be
That's a
like,
good word. It's a good word.
at the end of the day, if that's your thing, that's your thing, But I found that even as I said it, it was like poison on my tongue. I couldn't say it because Rings of Power. Look, I'm gonna quit and see it. There was some good stuff in Rings of Power. Some of it was all right, but most of it wasn't. Sorry.
I'm right there with you.
Sorry. There was some good stuff in there, but but compared to Lord of the Rings, come on, man, come on.
I ain't even got anything further to say on the matter.
As a wise man once said to me, "You having a laugh, ain't you?"
yeah. I can't even say anything else. I got to leave it there.
Let's just roll on to these.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay, it's time for the news.
Aye. News: Rings of Power is better than Lord of the Rings. Says fellow geek. Right, news. So, my bit of news, a couple of bits of news actually, but this is the one that just interests me. So, they're currently writing and planning the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Movie. One of the quotes from the director, Matt Shakman, who did WandaVision, basically said the movie's on track to release in 2025. The creative team is knee deep in development. They know the story they're going to tell, and during a recent interview, he teased that the movie is going to be very different from anything like we've seen in the MCU yet. So he said, "It's different in so many ways. I wish I could be specific. Yeah, me too, mate. I wish I could say more. Yep, me too. But we're doing things very differently from a story standpoint, from an approach to the filmmaking standpoint that really fits the material. I wish I could say more. I would love to, but I can't. I think it's going to be unlike anything you've seen before, and certainly unlike anything at Marvel that you've seen before."
Oh,
that whole paragraph concerns me.
Yeah, just a little bit.
It's just I'd rather you just go, do you know what? We've written the scripts pretty decent.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? There's a verse in the Bible that says there is nothing new under the sun. And even shows which are pretty original are still taking something from somewhere. So it's something like you've never seen before thing. It doesn't wash for a start. And it also worries me that you've got to say that so often. Like, it's like trying to big up something that hasn't really got substance behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, and also as well, like, given how many Marvel films we've had and how many times they've kind of said it's going to be nothing like you've ever seen in the MCU, that isn't what interests me. Do you know what I mean? That's not a draw for me. A draw for me is like if you've got a great story, you've got a great script, you've got great casting.
Yeah.
Even things like the effects and stuff, I'm less worried. I know some people get really hit up on the fact that some of the effects in some of the recent Marvel films haven't been great. I don't Ant-Man, yeah, that weren't great. But my thing is, if the story is strong and the characters are strong, that's it. That will bring me. That'll bring me along. Do you know what I mean?
See, I know some people get stuck on that. They were like, "Yeah, I couldn't get into it because the effects were terrible," and I'm like, "Yeah, but the story was great. I almost didn't." And maybe it's my thing. I hardly notice bad effects if I'm engrossed in a story.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same.
They have to be really bad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think some of that is because we're children of the 80s, so we've learned to be less forgiving when it comes to special effects. Do you know what I mean?
You're probably right.
And I think one of the shows that we'll talk about in week that will kind of bear that out.
Okay.
But said one of the things, I know they wouldn't do it, but what I would have loved to have seen them do was to have set it in the 60s.
Yes.
And giving it a real kind of 60s dynamic, even in terms of like the way they do the vehicles and the sci-fi and stuff like that. I think that to me, if you were coming to me with that, I'm all over that.
But there's so many things we've said. Make it period a piece. And by period, I don't mean Victorian era. Just go back to, just go back a few decades.
Well, even if they pull like a Captain America, and because I remember, I think it was in one of the early ones that I read as a kid. They got pulled into the negative zone. I think it was the
Yeah, yeah,
negative zone,
yeah.
and we had to like
Love the negative zone.
try and get them out and stuff like that. So even if you did it something like that, you said it in the 60s, and then maybe it ends with them getting pulled into the negative zone, and then they come out into sort of like modern day times, and that's how you bring them in. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Even something like that, I think would be cool. But with all the stuff they've already covered off in the MCU, without being funny, I don't know how you're gonna make someone you can turn invisible, someone you can flame on, some dude you can like stretch a little bit, and the
Guy
thing,
looks like a brick wall.
yeah, you know what I mean. And I love the Fantastic Four. So my thing is, for me, focus on the casting, focus on the characterization, focus on the story. That's what I want to see. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
I'm really interested to see who they cast for this.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the show just ain't got a great history.
No, and I kind of want them to go unknown.
Well, I've wanted that with so many things. It's like
Yeah,
I've always I miss the days like, you know, with Doctor Who. There's a new Doctor, and I was like, who is he? I don't know. Never heard of him before. I mean, I was younger then, so that was a
yeah.
thing. But
But at least the guy, I mean, at least the guy that they've now cast in Doctor Who is like, unless you've watched Sex Education, I haven't seen him in anything.
no,
Do you know what I
it
mean?
was in Barbie.
Oh yeah, he was in Barbie dancing, but do you know what I mean? It was like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like it's not really a lot for me to go on. And to me, when they cast him, Sue had stopped watching. She didn't watch the Jodie Whittaker run at all. She watched one episode and she was like, I'm out.
Ooh.
She loved Peter Capaldi, and she was just like, and she said that Jodie Whittaker made her realise that she watches Doctor Who for the Doctor, i.e., a bit like Bond. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's not doing it for her, she's out. But the minute they cast the new guy, because she loves him in Sex Education, she's like, nah, I'm back in. But yeah, so I'm really intrigued by the fan, probably more so than a lot of stuff that's come out of the MCU. I'm really intrigued to see, because I loved the Fantastic Four as a kid, so I want to see it done right. And I didn't mind the the Fantastic Four films. They're all right, but again, it just wasn't.
No, I didn't like that last one at all.
Was that Rise of the Silver Surfer?
I don't know, it's the one where they were like they just chucked him in prison for most of it.
Who?
The Fantastic Four.
I don't know. That goes to show I can't even remember it. All I know, the Silver Surfer was in it, and I think Lawrence Fishburne did his voice. I think.
Right. Okay.
Can't remember.
Nah. See. Well, there you go. There you go.
I think what it was missing was gravitas. Fantastic Four should be epic.
Yeah.
It should feel epic. Do you know what I mean? And it just didn't. It just felt like fluffy popcorn. So that's what I mean. It was all right. You know what I mean? But it weren't filling.
Yeah. Well, okay. I've got a bit of news. So Keith Giffen died last week as we're recording this, which to me was one of those ones that fills me with great sadness, almost much like, you know, when Stan Lee died. It's a very similar thing, but he's one of those ones that, you know, the average person doesn't know about. So he was primarily a comic artist, and he was also a writer and a plotter. He's actually listed as a a story plotter in a lot of comics. And going way back, some of the most influential comics of the 80s for me, he did a comic called Heckler, which no one knows about. It only had 6 issues, and
Wow.
it was like a superhero parody. And the one thing I never forget is that there was a page. You know when you think, have I missed something, and you go back a page? Because I read this page, and then turned it over, read the next page, and I was like, I feel like I've read this before. And you get to the bottom of the page, and the next panel is Heckler going, "Oh, deja vu." You go, "What?" And you realise that they put the same page in twice on purpose.
Oh wow!
So it was like it was little things like that. But he also did Justice League International.
Oh, okay.
which kind of changed things up. It was just hilarious stuff. The Authority stuff he did, Legion 89 for people that remembered that, Legion of Superheroes stuff, Dr. Fate, which changed stuff. Anyway, he was just, for me, he was one of the most influential writers, plotters, artists. His work for DC was off the chart for me, especially as a DC boy. And I just want to, give him his due. Keith Giffen.
Yeah, hell up, man.
Yeah. Yeah, one of those ones. I'm sad that I never got to interview or meet as part of the podcast.
Yeah.
So it goes. Here's to Keith.
My last bit of news. Although I can't even read. I can't even go into this other bit of news which I just saw, which was all I read is the headline: Chuck Norris and Vanilla Ice are set to star in a secret agent zombie movie, Zombie Plane.
I can't even take the time to engage. That's too much for my brain.
It's just too much. There's too much to unpack there.
Yeah, it's too late in the day. Let's just move on. We can come back to that another time.
Right. So did you know? So one of my favorite cartoons from back in the day, right, was Gargoyles, Disney's Gargoyles.
Oh yeah.
Which I don't think got people. There's an underlying group of geeks that you mention Gargoyles and people just give you a little nod like, yeah, I know Gargoyles, but they're apparently it's getting a live action series adaptation.
Live action?
Yeah. I'm just
okay.
So basically, for people that don't know, Gargoyles centered a group of nocturnal creatures known as gargoyles who turn to stone during the day and come alive at night. Yeah, okay, yeah, I remember now. Yeah, these gargoyles once protected a medieval Scottish castle, but after a betrayal, they were cursed to remain in stone until the castle rose above the clouds. 1,000 years later, wealthy businessman David Zanos, Lex Lucifer, transports the castle to the top of his New York City skyscraper, awakening the gargoyles.
Because you would.
And David Zantos, I think, was voiced by Riker.
Jonathan Frakes.
By Jonathan Frakes. I'm sure he was.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was wicked in it, actually. Yeah, it was a fantastic show, and I believe, I know it's easy to say it's for every kind of adaptation, but one, I believe it's a good choice for an adaptation
to live action.
And two, I think it's got the potential to be wicked if it's done right.
Okay.
Because there's some things that you think when they're going to adapt this, and you go, really? And then they do it and it's awful and you go, well, told you. Whereas this one, I feel like it's got legs as an idea. I feel it's got legs if it's done right.
Okay, all right. I look forward to that.
Yeah.
I remember it, but I don't remember it well. I remember watching it, but I don't remember watching it religiously.
Yeah.
So, okay, all right. I'm up for that.
Yeah.
Shall we head into the week that was?
Just have a sip of whiskey.
You did. Well, I felt that.
Hit it.
Yeah. It's time for the week that was. For some reason you said that, and I just wanted to go na 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 na.
Here comes the Nuge stepper.
Murderer.
I'm the lyrical gangster.
Murderer. Still
Still
living like
that. We laugh because it's funny, and we laugh because it's true. Right, week that was. Oh man.
No, I don't even know where to start on this.
Do you know what? I'm gonna start with one because otherwise I think I'll forget if I don't talk about it now. So, after you told me to go back and watch the show, I went back and watched it. So, this is Alice in Borderland.
Yeah.
I'd watched the first season of this show. So this is basically like a guy and his mates in Tokyo get transported to this kind of other Tokyo, I guess, for want of a better word, where they've got all these games going on. It's kind of Squid Gamey, I guess, but it's so much more. And I'd almost sort of say it's a bit post-apocalyptic as well.
Because you don't understand it. How is it possible? Why is Tokyo like this? Where is everyone else? Where is how are these games managed? Because if you don't play a game, a laser will come down from the sky and kill you. And if you play a game and lose, you're dead.
Yeah. And there's different types of games. You've got kind of skill games, you've got team games and stuff like that. And I watched the first season of this and loved it. and I didn't actually think they were going to do any more seasons. And I was kind of all right with it because although it didn't round up, I was still happy with where it left me. And then they brought out a season 2, and I just never got around to watching it. And then I think I tried to start watching it, and I felt like too much time has passed. But then you were raving on it and telling me I need to get back on it, and I went back to it, and I blitzed it in a week. Man, what a show!
What a show! I mean, those 2 seasons together are just
man. That second season was intense, man.
Intense. Talking about slowly ramping up the stakes more. The thing is, it starts with high stakes and it just keeps ramping them up.
Yeah. And some of the best well choreographed fights I've seen in many an age, man.
Yeah.
You got hand to hand, you got knife work, you got guns. And it's just that people that just also as well, it's like teamwork is off the chain, and it's like people that just won't quit. They just won't stay. Every time you feel that guy's dead, that guy's out. You know what I mean?
It's still coming. It's messed up. He's messed up beyond. He's still coming.
But I would say for me, I know everyone raved about Squid Games, and that's the one that kind of captured like Western eyes and all the rest of it.
I still haven't finished that.
Yeah, to me, like it is a similar. There are similarities between the two, but to me, I much prefer. And I really enjoy Squid Games, but I much prefer Alice in Borderland.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason I haven't finished Squid Games is because I was like, I've watched a few. I watched 5 or 6 episodes, and it doesn't compare for me. Alice in Borderland is way better, and I'm not even saying that to cuss at all. I'm just saying that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And part of me's gone because of the similarity between them. Part of me's gone, well, how can I go back to Squid Game after that?
Yeah.
And I want to, but I just don't feel like I've got that motivation.
Also, as well, Squid Game is a different. It's a different show. It's a different tone, and the pacing is different. But you're right. I think because of that, I think if you going back to it, you'd be like, something going to happen.
So my question to you is, because one of the problems with the shows like this is how they wrap things up. What did you think of the wrap up? What did you think of the conclusion?
Put it this way.
Did the story work?
Yeah. Put it this way. They announced they were doing a season 3, and I was disappointed.
Likewise. Go on. Why were you disappointed?
Because I felt, and I'm choosing my words carefully, do you know what I mean? I thought season 2, it wrapped it up, and it gave you an explanation. And yes, you could argue there's some open-endedness to it, but it wrapped it up enough to me. And not everyone might not like where they went with it, but I was happy with the explanation. Unlike the likes of Lost and stuff, you gave me 2 seasons of pure kind of action, adrenaline, and characterization and stuff, and then you got the hell out of Dodge, rather than trying to like beat a dead horse and just constantly trying to find new ways to confuse people. Where actually, what you realise is you really don't know where you're going, do you? Which is what happened with Lost, and I felt with this one, they didn't do that, which is why I'm worried about
it, because it felt complete.
Yes, yeah.
It felt like there's nowhere else to go because you've told the story. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
for me, given the way you set it up, unless they did it with, but I don't think they would, unless they were brave enough to do it with all new characters. Because again, I'm trying to choose my words carefully.
Yes, tread carefully here.
The explanation of it, you could transpose that with different characters.
Now, the thing is, for me, the characters in this were so good.
Yeah.
It was so good. Part of me went, if it came out, I'd like to watch it again, but I almost don't feel like I would need to.
Yeah.
What worries me, there's something else that worries me in the same vein like this. So I feel like with Alice in Borderland, they knew where they were going and they got there and it was great. So we don't need a season 3, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But what worries me is a similar show that reminds me a lot of Lost, and I've just finished the 2nd season, and I'm really scared, and I've loved it. I've loved it as much as I loved the 1st season, and I'm really scared that they don't know where they're going.
Is this Manifest?
No.
From.
Okay.
because I've still got the second season to watch of that.
Okay, I will tell you this: there's no spiders in it
Okay, because
because that last episode of season 1 was a spider palooza, man.
God bless you, because it wasn't for her, man. It's just like, I knew it, because my thing is I'm always looking out for spider webs at any show. The minute I see some sort of web action, I'm like, this ain't right. And Sue was just like, whatever. And I remember at one point she just went, Jesus, you cannot look. You cannot look. I was like, okay. It was a whole like Ark of the Covenant scenario. She's like, keep your eyes shut. It's like,
Yeah.
Sue, keep your eyes shut.
I know. That's how when I imagined that, like the Nugent household watching that last episode, that is exactly what I imagined.
Yeah.
But no, so I watched the second season and loved it. Tense, scary, uncomfortable.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? All of that. And it's come to, and there's some great questions that have come up right at the end of it. But the thing is, they keep introducing questions.
Yeah.
Like they did with Lost. And I'm like, please don't meander around for 6 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, please know where you're going. And I'm scared because I'm loving it. But if I get burnt like that again, I'm gonna move to a mountain in the Highlands and never look at a television again.
Well, the thing is that anything remotely that sounds like Lost, I just won't watch. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's because I loved the first season of that as well. And maybe part of the reason why I haven't gone to the second season was the way the first season ended, because it did smack of Lost a bit to me.
Yeah, I love the second season, but
and there's a certain element as well where it's kind of like, I get the whole, you got to keep things rolling because at the end of the day it's a job and you got to get, you know what I mean, you want to pay your actors, you want the show to run for as long as possible. I get that, but there is a case of diminishing returns. Do you know what I mean? Unless you plot out the story in such a way to sort of go, we've plotted this out so we could do 20 seasons. Okay, that's cool. But you also need to have cut-off points. So if a man turns to you and says, we're cancelling it, you can go, yeah, that's cool. We got this. We can round that up, not a problem. And that's my worry with it.
Yeah.
Is they've got this big end point, but it's like, if we could just get to season 8.
No. Oh, yeah. I'm worried. I am worried, and I don't want to be, because I love it, and I love. Is it Harold Perryman? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, he's the main guy in it.
Yeah, I love him. He's been one of my favorite actors for a long time.
Yeah, it's good to see him getting work, man.
Yeah. So I'm like, please, man, please.
Okay. So much to get through, man.
And I've got a comic.
Yeah, go for it.
So this comic is called. It's not out yet. I mean, it ships in October, but it's still on pre-order. It's from. I know it. Why am I struggling? Avery Hill. Avery Hill, which is a UK publisher.
Oh,
it's by a guy called Owen D. Pomeroy. And when I heard the name, I thought, I know this name from somewhere. And I think when I was doing judging on the British Comic Awards, I think I read one of his comics, which is called Between the Billboards. And I remember loving it. And I just loved he used to be he studied architecture, and you just look at the way he lays out his pages and the way he draws buildings and vehicles and stuff, and you can see it there. So he's doing a science fiction comic called The Hard Switch. And I love the art because it's kind of got that French Tintin feel to it, where it's kind of very simple art.
Oh, okay.
But when you look at a page, you actually go, it's one of those weird ones. You look at it and go, it's very simple. And the more you look at the page, the more detail you see. You suddenly realize, I thought it was simple, but it's actually really detailed, which is really, really nice way of doing art. And it just feels very open and busy, but not busy. And this is not making any sense. But it also gives this strange feeling of sort of desolation and tiredness. So let me give you the blurb. It says, an engrossing science fiction novel about a spaceship's crew and the end of non-renewable resources. Ada, Hiker, and Malik looks like an octopus. To be fair,
Right.
yeah. Ada, Hiker, and Malik are on a mission, one last mission before everything everywhere shuts down. And I'm like, all right, you
I
got me.
mean,
Yeah. They're raiding old abandoned spaceships and wrecks for the parts, and they make just enough money to get by. But living their nomadic exploring life isn't sustainable when they can't afford fuel anymore. This is the bit which is like, I said earlier about you get very few original stories.
yeah.
I love this. The time is coming when the mineral that makes inter-system jumps possible runs out. When it's done, the scattered inhabitants of the vast galaxy will be stuck where they are. Everything will be different, unless the discovery in the latest wreck, Ada, Hiker, and Malik are scavenging, can unlock a whole new kind of interstellar transit. So just imagine we're in England, yeah, and you know that in 2 years, all petrol is going to run out. And so to get to London, you're going to have to get a horse. And if you can't get a horse, you're stuck in Northampton.
Well, or you're trotting for like
Or you're,
weeks,
yeah.
days.
But
Or
with
whatever
this
it is.
guys, they're on different planets. So
Yeah.
when it's gone, whatever planet you're on, that's where you're stuck, full stop.
Damn.
And I just thought, I love this idea. I love it. So the first graphic novel comes out and it's like, I thought it was a complete story, but it's not. It's kind of the first part. And I'm just like, the way it was written, the way the characters, I'm just in. But yeah, loved it. Loved the storytelling. He wrote it and did the art. I love the art. I love the storytelling. I love the concept. I love the plotting. I'm all in, man.
So
The hard switch.
So there's a Kickstarter for the actual comic then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's over, but there'll probably be another one for the next part, I'm guessing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I like the sound of that, man.
Yeah.
You like the sound of that, man. And I've been scratching my comic itch. I've started the. You recommended that Supergirl one to me.
Oh yeah, by what's his name? Tom King?
Or Tom Taylor.
But yeah, one of the Toms.
One of the Toms, yeah. So yeah, I've started that now. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I haven't read much of it, but straight away, I'm like, I know where his inspiration comes from. It's True Grit.
Oh, of course it is.
Kid wanting to get justice, goes to some grizzled old kind of outlook, you know what I mean, hero type thing to go and get justice for her, and then she goes along with him. Yeah, the minute I've just got to a bit where she's kind of trying to convince Supergirl or whatever to co-help or whatever, I'm like, yeah, True Grit.
Of course it is.
And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I'm all in. That's what you're going for. I'm all in.
Yeah. Oh man.
But
yeah, Tom King, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
Yeah, that's it. But the comic I wanted to quickly mention before we go back to TV, I read recently. I mean, I've read quite a few comics. DC actually is Nightwing Volume 1, Leaping into the Light, which is written by Tom Taylor with art by Bruno Redondo.
Yeah, I too have read this.
And it's interesting because I've seen some reviews, and some reviews of it have been mixed. And I'm like, okay. I mean, my review won't be mixed because I loved this.
Yeah.
I love this volume. And the reason I loved it is it kind of reminded me why, when I was 11 years old, that I loved, and younger and older, why I loved reading superhero comics, and why I wanted to, why I used to put a parka on and put the hood on over my head and kind of run around with it like a cape. Do you know what I mean?
What is it about it that got that for you?
It just, I mean, it was serious, but there was a lightness to it. So it didn't have that kind of, a lot of the dark stuff that you get in a lot of this.
There was a bit of joy in being a superhero.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And the way they kind of the way like Dick Grayson interacts with like Barbara and like some of the other Robins as well. Even with Batman as well. There's a great little scene with Batman.
I know.
That just, I put my hand up with a couple of scenes that had me in tears, man. And maybe I'm just a bit more emotional these days. I don't know. I've got stuff going on, but it got me, man. There's bits got me.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
But it was Heroes. It was just good to read a comic where they're just trying to do the right thing.
Mm.
Art was gorgeous as well. Some nice ways and some nice like touches with the art to where they sort of conveyed certain things. Lettering was great. For me, it was just beautiful. I loved it. I will be picking up volume 2 at some stage as well. But again, what I liked was I could have just stopped with volume 1 and I would have been happy.
Yep. Yeah, likewise. I think that's why I haven't gone on to volume 2 yet. Because I
Yeah.
was like, do you know what? I'd quite like to read it, but I don't feel I need to, which isn't like, it's probably not the best business.
I guess for
model.
me, it's because I'm thinking if it's the same team, I'll keep reading until the team changes.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Which is what's happened with some stuff in the past. You know what I mean? And certainly, I think it was Tom Taylor did the Batman one we read, the detective.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, this guy writes heroes well, man. Well, he writes the heroes that I want to read. Put it that way.
Yeah.
So there was that, but yeah, 2 biggies coming up now. So first biggie.
All right.
You've been telling me this for I don't know how long, and I've got to put my hand up and apologise that I didn't get on this sooner.
Strange New Worlds.
Star Trek: Strange New Worlds.
How?
Right,
before we go any further, I just need to know how far along you are.
So I watched all of season 1. I am now.
You hadn't even watched season 1.
I hadn't watched it. That's what I mean. You were asking me about it, and I was like, I hadn't watched any of it. I'd watched none of it. So I was like, let me just check this out. And I think part of it was I was a bit kind of, so it's, it's got Captain Pike from the old Star Trek who was in Discovery, who I did like, and you've got Spock and you've got Uhura, but she's she's an ensign, and I'm like, and you've got someone who's related to Khan, and I was like, to me, I was just like, I felt like you're trying a bit too hard.
Yeah.
Then I started watching it.
I can see that.
Yeah, and you've got the Dr. Mabenga and Nurse Chapel, who are both in like the original Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a bit, I don't know. So anyway, started watching it, man. It took me about 2 episodes, and I was like, it isn't often in this day and age that it takes me 2 episodes, and I'm like, I love this crew. I don't want anything bad to happen to any of them.
No, I know.
And even though they do the crew really well because they do episodes where they do focus in on them, but in one respect, it didn't even matter because I already had their backs. I just honestly, I watched that show and I'm like, why isn't my workplace like that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Everyone is just working to their best ability. Everyone gets on for the most part,
and then going for a drink.
And it's like every episode where my boys, where Pike's like got his apron on, he's just cooking food. I'm like, man, I want to be there.
Yeah, I know. So how far into season 2 have you got?
So I think I've done 4 or 5 episodes.
Right. So I'm just trying to hold on.
I know there's a musical episode, but I haven't got to that yet.
Right. Have you got to the crossover with Lower Decks?
No.
Oh man. Man, I can't even begin to tell you. I was like, how that's one of those a crossover with a cartoon. That could be great or it could be terrible. It is great.
Okay.
It is great. And Subspace Rhapsody, which is the musical episode, basically my kids have had the album on, they've had the soundtrack on, they've been rinsing it.
Wow.
And and so have I. And I was like, I said to Siobhan, I went to my wife, I said, do you know what? I suppose at some point I'm going to get really bored of playing this. And she went, are you? Because I'm not. And she, she's a classically trained singer, and she was sitting there watching this and her mouth was open. She went, this is great. This is amazing. And it's like, it's a proper musical, yeah. The songs, I can't even, basically, I thought season 1 of Strange New Worlds was some of the best Trek I've seen.
Yeah.
It was great. And then season 2 came along and raised the bar.
Well, I already told you that opening episode was one of the best Treks I've seen. For me, it had everything, man.
You said it was better than any movie.
Yeah, it had it. Yeah, I'm talking new. I'm not talking right for Carl. Come on, but you know,
Yeah. Come on.
but for me, it was like you took. I kind of took my eye off the ball. I wasn't even looking at the doctor and the nurse, right? Nurse Chapel and Abenga. You know what I mean? I'm like, they're great characters as well, but there's this little couple of back and forth conversation where you suddenly think they got a whole kind of history of having adventures and dealing with stuff.
Yeah.
And my boy, I don't even want to spoil it. They get into some stuff, and it's kind of like, and she's like, "Is it any, do you never not carry it with you?" And he's like, "Nope." And they go when them two go to work, they go to work, man. They go to work.
No, he's serious, man. He's really gentle. Yeah, but he's serious.
But he don't mess about, man.
Nah.
Yeah, it's and the thing what I love about it is, like I said, I'm interested in all the characters, not just the captain and Spock. You know, I don't roll my eyes when they decide to focus on a particular character. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll get fun a bit more. Even there was an episode where it was kind of focused on, is it Ortega?
Yep.
She's like the helm. And there's a bit in there where she just dropped this line where she's like, I can't think what her first name is now. But I'm whatever Ortega and I fly the ship. I'm whatever Ortega and I fly the ship. Man, I was out of my chair. I was like, God damn you, do.
Oh, but that was the memory one, wasn't it?
The memory one, yeah. I tell you. But for me, what I love about the show as well is, again, going back to the like Nightwing and having this lightness to it. This, for me, is the Trek they've been trying to do and missing the mark. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think this year they've hit it. So when they did Picard, when they did the latest season of Picard, right, season 3, they hit it. Right? They hit it. And I'm like, yeah, that's how you do it. And I felt with Strange New Worlds, it's like out of the gate, I'm like, there's elements to Discovery I liked. I'm not going to turn this into a Discovery bash, you know what I mean? But for me personally, I don't think it hit it for me what they were trying to go with. Or certainly what they were trying to give me in terms of Trek. And everyone's version of Trek is different. But for me, Strange New Worlds, I'm like, this is the Trek that I want to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is how you... Because when Trek's at its best, it takes a known issue, be that issue prejudice, hatred,
ecology, whatever it is.
You name it, you know, and it wraps it up, and it does wrap it up in a lot of sci-fi stuff in such a way so that you're not sitting there going, oh, you're just talking about this and you're just talking about this in my life and blah, blah, blah. It does it in such a way that you can see the parallels, but also you're kind of swept along with the sci-fi element to it. So it's a nice mix. Do you know what I mean? It's like where it's like a spoonful of sugar makes a medicine go down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I hear that.
Whereas I feel like with a lot of Discovery, it was just you were just getting the medicine and there was no sugar.
Yeah. Because with this, do you know what? Because you do some proper laughing watching this show, but when they're ready to hit you, bam, you ain't laughing no more.
That second episode 2, season 2 was basically a civil rights episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they nailed it. Absolutely. From the casting choices, from the dialogue, the plot itself. And I do love a Star Trek episode where it's a court thing. I do love it when it's done right. And it was done right. And I was crying by the end of it. Again, don't mind. I put my hand up, man.
It was emotional, man.
It was an emotional episode, man, for very varying reasons. But it's got a lightness. It's got swag. I love all the characters. The action is great. The ship looks amazing.
It does.
It just looks amazing.
You've got to get your head around the fact that this is meant to be retro, but you know what I mean? It's 2000. It's 2023. There's only so much retro you could go. But
what they do is they lead into it, Monts, because what I loved about it is like even when the court case was like read off the charges, and she put in that little plastic card thing that they used to do in the old 60s one.
Yeah. I know.
Right? And I'm like, and even when they fly the ship, there's like an actual like a stick that she grips, and she's got like a kind of lever to kind of make it go faster. I'm like, I much prefer that than people just typing on a console. I'm like, I don't get that, man.
There is a line. There's a line in the Lower Decks crossover that just had me howling. Just because Lower Decks takes place in the future.
Of
Well,
course,
in
yeah.
Enterprise's future. So there's a bit of tech they look at and they were going, "Nah, I prefer the way we do it." It's like, what's the point if you can't do this? You'll see it when you get there. It's
Okay.
like, you go, yeah, okay, all right, that was nice. We have, once you finish the season, we have to talk again because there's a couple of things I need to pick up on.
Yeah, okay. Also, before I move off, I have to say, right, one of the things I loved about Star Trek Next Gen was the Borg. When they introduced Borg, the way they used the Borg, best of both worlds, everyone loves that, blah, blah, blah. But I felt they overused the Borg.
Like Doctor Who does with Daleks.
Exactly. You create this great villain, everyone loves them, and you just keep going back to that well. What I loved about Strange New Worlds is they took a villain which in the old school Star Trek everyone laughed at. The Gorn.
The Gorn.
Everyone, even though I really liked the episode, don't get me wrong, I really loved the episode with the Gorn.
Yeah.
You know, he's a dude in a rubber suit. Do you know what I mean? Can't really move or anything like that. You took the Gorn and you turned him into some kind of alien predator
hybrid. Yeah, terrifying. Yeah.
You know what I mean? In a way that, like, when they even mentioned the Gorn, you're like, oh man, it's odd. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This show actually sent me on a bit of a mission because I suddenly in my head I went. So before Kirk took over, there was another. It was Kirk was the Enterprise's third 5-year mission. Yeah, so Pike was the captain before him, did a 5-year mission, and before him was the guy who's like Admiral. I've forgotten his name now.
Oh, the brother.
Yeah.
Admiral
whatever, and he was the one who had it before. So I started looking into that, and I went back and I watched every episode of Star Trek with Christopher Pike in. So I'm talking the pilot from the original series.
Oh, the Cage, yeah.
Yeah, and the 2 episodes where he was like mashed up.
The court case one where Spock steals the Enterprise, didn't he?
Yeah. But I mean, I went back to the original series I'm talking about and looked at everything.
No. You're talking about the Kirk original series.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I watched those first time round, man. I know them ones, man.
All right, okay, cool. And then I went back to the animated series.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a deep dive, man.
Yeah, because the Admiral was in it. But it was
right.
Basically, he was in retirement, and him and his wife, and apparently his wife was the medical officer on the Enterprise back in the day. But they were in retirement, and they come out for one last trip with Kirk. And it was some old white dude, so it was a big change. But I just felt the need to like just dip into pre-Kirk history, and it was like, and now I actually want to watch every single Star Trek episode in chronological order, but I ain't gonna even start that because that would be too big. Even the musical episodes, some of the things that they do is when you understand sort of music, you don't even need to understand it to see how clever it is, the writing. I just love this show. That's all.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Has it got a season 3? Do we know?
Yeah, better do.
Yeah, better do.
Because let me tell you, they leave it on a cliffhanger.
Okay. Don't say that more, man.
Okay.
No, I said, love.
What a cliffhanger. That's what I'm saying.
It's one of them. Like I said, man, I would. It made me kind of it reminded me of like why I loved Star Trek, the idea of a brighter future.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people just working together. Do you know what I mean? And just
yeah. No, we have to revisit this when you finish the whole season.
Okay, we'll do, man. Yeah. Right. So to close out, we're going to go back in time. So
I'm already laughing.
So man. I'm going to start. So obviously, we've not been recording for a while, and Dave's been busy, but I've had a lot of things going on, not great things. I won't discuss them here, but yeah. So my mental health, it's not been of the best, shall we say? And that's part of the reason why we haven't probably been recording as much and stuff like that. So I'm really glad that we've finally been able to do this. You know what I mean? But I have to say, it was in one of them times I was just in a dark place, and then you'd message me to sort of go, look, man, I don't know if this will help, but they got UFOs showing on ITVX. So for people that don't know, Dave, what's UFO?
So in 1970, Jerry and Sylvia Anderson came up with this live action TV show. So you might know their name from things like Thunderbirds, Space 1999, what else? What, Captain Scarlet, all of these
Joe
things.
90.
Yeah. So UFO was a TV show, and they had, and basically the Earth is under attack by aliens from another planet. We know nothing about them. We just know that they every now and again they come down. So they've had to set up an organization called Shadow, to kind of guard against it. And so you've got the base on Earth. You've got a submarine called Skydiver, which launches an airplane to like shoot things down. You've got a moon base. You've got these interceptors, which are these little fighter ships. And they've got one. They look ridiculous because they've got one huge missile just on the front. So basically, they've only got 3 of them.
It'd be useless to check it.
They only got 3 of them, and they all of them. They've only got one shot each.
It sounds like I keep thinking when they shoot it, it's like, oh, I've missed. Oh, okay. Well, that's it. Got some lasers on there, man.
Now, what you need to do is you need to Google UFO uniforms, because let me tell you, the uniforms that they thought people were going to be wearing in the future is just genius. And it's like, if you're a woman working on the moon base, part of your uniform is a purple wig, and I'm like, why? Why?
And if you're in the Helldiver, well, if not the Helldiver, you're in the Skydiver,
the submarine.
Everyone's busting string vests. I'm like, what's that about? You got to be. I tell you, one thing I take away.
Man.
One thing I took away from that show is like, you got to be in shape to work for Shadow, man.
I know.
Some of the outfits are unforgiving, man.
It's like I'd have had to retire. Do you know what I mean? Because you get to a certain point, you go, boy, I'm not losing that. I need to get out of this. I need to get out of this uniform. Do you know what I mean? Or hit the gym, because their uniforms are unforgiving, man.
Yeah.
But also on that note, episode 1 is just pure titillation. Yeah?
I mean, in it though, I kept thinking, like, even the music.
Oh, I mean, the music is great, man. The music. Oh no, because you get the music and you go, this is great, and then they zoom in on the bass and it kind of goes wow 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 wow, and then like kind of dirty music.
Like the saxophone guys working it, man.
Yeah, but it's pure, and they don't quite go back to that. To that level of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, the misogyny in it is fantastic.
It's not great.
There's a bit with the commander, like, he's flirting with one of the moon base girls, like the moon base commander. And he's like, listen, don't be so hard on yourself. You're doing a great job. A man's job. And don't forget, you're a good looking girl. And I was like, ooh. That didn't age well.
Yeah, there's a lot in that show. It doesn't age well, man.
But let me just go back. So they did 26 episodes, and it kind of got cancelled. But they'd been working on a season 2, and apparently the episodes that were most popular were the moon base episodes. I'm like, that ain't a surprise, man. Look at that costumes they're wearing. That ain't no surprise. We know why. And so they'd expanded the moon base, and so rather than let it go to waste, Jerry Anderson proposed Space 1999. So Space 1999 was actually born out of the second season of UFO, which never happened.
That would have been cool if it had just been a shadow base, and then and it'd been the UFOs that had caused them getting blown out of orbit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
spin off, yeah.
But season 2 was just going to be set on the moon base. They were going to relocate.
Okay.
Base. So, how did you find this 1970s sci-fi show?
So I've seen 3 episodes now, right? And obviously, it's their vision of the future. What kills me as well is like their future is 1980.
Yeah,
this was supposed. So I mean, they really had high hopes for humanity, man.
Even the cars, man, sleek.
Yeah. So it kept, even in the opening credits, it just keeps telling you it's 1980, it's the future, and I'm like, wow. So we got moon base, we got everything flying with UFOs,
Purple wigs as
purple
military
wigs.
uniform.
I loved it because it's one of them. It was one of those shows I don't remember. I remember it, but I remember it, but I don't remember, if that makes sense. I don't remember watching it because I certainly don't remember it being quite as dark as it is.
No, see, in my head, like Space 1999, it's got its darkness and it's got its serious side, but it is essentially a show for kids, maybe slightly older kids. But yeah, hell, and I'm ahead of you in terms of the episodes. It is dark, and it gets darker.
Yeah.
And there's some. I can't even. Listen. Have you done? How far have you got?
Listen, I've only done 3 episodes.
Question. Episode 5 is going to destroy you.
Okay.
There's an episode in which my boy, the commander, Ed Straker, don't mess with Ed Straker.
Yeah.
Don't mess with. He dishes out some slaps, boy. And episode 10. So at the end of every episode, when it's finished, they don't play the funky theme tune. It's just a creepy theme tune.
Yeah.
And they just zoom out from Earth out into deep space. Yeah. They don't do that in episode 10.
Okay.
And you're gonna watch episode 10 and you're gonna sit there with your hand over your mouth going, "Oh, shame."
It's dark, man. And the thing I kind of like about it is I quite like the concept. I like the idea that they basically try to uncover the UFOs. It don't work, so they kind of go undercover. And I'd like the idea that it's a kind of, their cover is a film studio.
Yeah.
And it's
Straker Studios.
It's just, I mean, it could have probably done with like changing his name a bit more, but I just like the fact that he goes into his office and just flips a button and then the whole office goes down. Do you know what I mean? It's just cool, and it's like going back. Going back to like a bit like Star Trek again. There's another place I want to work because it's like when his boy comes in to see him, Alec Freeman.
Yeah.
It's like, drink, Alec? Sure. And they've got like a drinks cabinet there. They literally just presses a whiskey button and the whiskey comes pouring out. And the other guy's there smoking a cigar. And I'm like, man, why do I work at? Why am I not working at places like either this or the Enterprise?
And I think one of the things that lets it down a little bit is so like a lot of shows, they have their techno babble. Yeah. It's great, but their techno babble, there's just a lot of numbers. Where's the UFO? 1.237 decimal 04.
Yeah.
And they do that all the time, man. And you're like, okay, you need to give it a rest now. We got it. You know what I mean?
It's far away.
It's like, you don't actually need to go through every like.
And that computer they got up in the satellite,
SID, which is basically Thunderbird 5.
Exactly, and it looks like that's part of the set for Space 1999 that got used. Because every time I look at it, I keep thinking it looks like Moonbase.
Yeah. What's it? Oh, also, once you listen to the incidental music, it is very much Space 1999. You can see that they just developed that a little bit further, and that was like, But I'm shocked at how much I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
And I'm shocked at how dark it is.
But then again, these are the same people that gave us like Captain Scarlet at 11 o'clock in the morning with Captain Black gunning people down and like, you know what I mean, killing people and driving over people. And I still remember the one where like he goes into a garage and the guy's like, "Be right with you, buddy," and he presses a button so that the whole car thing goes up into
drops
the roof.
The car on him.
Yeah, it's just like this is for kids, man.
Yeah. And also, it's like, was it Joe 90? He was a little boy who just like, who the government were okay with giving him like secret missions, sending him out to kill people.
Yeah, I mean, Joe 90. I mean, you couldn't make that show down, man. That's got like social services written all over it, man. For real. Imagine living next door to them, man. Every so often you hear dum 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 dum. Again, Joyce. They're up to no good, them. I'm telling you, they're up to no good with that poor kid. Do you know what I mean? He's always in that silly little contraption thing, and he just seems different. You know what I mean?
Oh man, no, I'm all over this show.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting stuck into it more as well, man. But like I said, for
I
me,
had to take a little break because it's just too
too
dark.
dark.
It's just because I was like, because I got I paid for a subscription so I could just access everything for it. I thought I'll do it in a month,
Mhm.
and I've got there. I've gone. I don't know if I can do 26 episodes this a month without like going into deep depression, man.
Oh
Because
wow.
it's just some of the episodes. I'm like, no, that's too much.
Hey, on a brighter note, and we'll round up. I watched Haunted Mansion, which is a new Disney one.
That is on my list to watch with the kids.
Do you know what? Right, I went into it going, I just all right, go on then.
Sorry. Before you do that, I
Mhm.
just need to go back and say, Colonel Paul Foster.
Yep.
Apparently, he was deep in the running for James Bond instead of Roger Moore.
Oh really?
Yeah, apparently had like 8 meetings with them.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. I gotta say, yes, I watched it. I really enjoyed it. It kind of it had a kind of like old school 80s vibe to it. Do you know what I mean? Them sort of films like Goonies and whatever. It just had that kind of fun 80s vibe to it.
so it's not going to scare my kids too much.
I mean, it's there's a couple of scary little bits in there. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't want to be like, yeah, they'll be fine. And then you calling me up going, I can't get my kids to sleep. It's your fault.
Yeah, I'm going to risk it.
Okay. Well,
Still
just
going to blame
remember,
you there.
I didn't tell you. I didn't tell you. So, do you know what I mean? I take no responsibility if your kids can't sleep. None.
Yeah.
But no, I think it'll be all right, man.
All right. Yeah. That's definitely on my list for like, because they're looking forward to some Halloween stuff. So I'm like, yeah, let's do that one.
Here's a thing before we go. So with the Halloween stuff with kids, obviously I don't have kids. So do you do the whole kind of like, which was an American tradition? I'm sorry, people, we didn't do it when I was a kid.
We did not.
So do you do the thing where effectively you take kids to like people's houses and hassle them till they give you food?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Okay. Can I just say I turn off all the lights in my house and we go to
the only houses we go to are ones that have put pumpkins outside or decorations.
Yeah,
if they ain't got that, then we don't.
Yeah, people have told me that don't put. I mean, I was never going to put nothing outside other than a sign that says "Don't bother knocking on my door" because you won't get nothing apart from the back of my hand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, you still get kids knocking. I'm like, there's nothing on my door. There's nothing. Stop knocking on my door, man. I know, like, if Sue passes away first and I'm still left behind, I know I'm going to be that dude from like Up.
Oh yeah.
But there ain't gonna be no happy. There ain't gonna be no Boy Scout turning up and like turning my life around. I'll be like, "What you doing there, man? Get out of my house!"
Yes, it's all about the balloons, man.
And take their flipping balloons with you as well. Fill it up my house, man. Goddamn kids. I'm looking forward to being the grandchild, man.
No, I'm getting that.
You know what I mean?
I'm getting that.
But, well, I've already got a stick and everything, man. Just need a lawn to tell them to get off.
Yeah. If it was America, you could have a little rifle as well. With some buckshot.
Taking pot shots at 12-year-olds.
Yeah, with your buckshot. I want to pepper your ass.
And then that inappropriate note. I'd like to say no children were harmed in the making of this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did say that one. That was
wow.
Yeah. Leaving that one there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we talked about a few things there. Let us know what you think of them. Let us know if anything's grabbed your interest and you want to check it out. And if you do check it out, let us know what you think. And if you've checked it out already, let us know if you agree with us or not. Either way, lots of fun to be had, except for the dark stuff. That's not fun.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Anyway, so you know how to let us know. You can give us an email at thegeeks@geeksyndicate.co.uk, or indeed you can suggest things you think we should check out. Yeah, also you can find us all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, X. I'm not calling it X, Twitter, man.
X gonna give it to you. He gonna give it to
Give
you.
it to you.
X gonna
It's
give
gonna
it to
give
you.
it to you. Nah, nonsense.
Nah.
Or let's just get on Blue Sky. Yeah.
Yes, I got given an invite to that. I still haven't used it yet. Apologies, Dean. I will. I am going to use it. Thanks.
Yeah, cool. All right. So till next time, which we hope will be a lot sooner than last time.
Yes.
Geek Syndicate, we
We
out.
out.